Hi, this is Tal from Ridebox. I just finished a little coaching session with a group, and following that coaching session, I want to talk to you a little bit about line choice and specifically how it connects to your skills, and also to discuss some sort of a trap that dealing with line choice has. So let's get into it. First of all, what is line choice? People talk about it, people discuss it, not always sure what it means. So line choice means that while I'm riding a trail, I'm deciding which line to take. So it sounds super basic, but what it really means is that instead of letting the trail lead my eyesight and following whatever cues are on the trail, I'm going to take my eyes up, look far, look wide, and look off the mainstream line that everyone rides. So that line is usually going to be super visible on a trail. That's what everyone takes. Sometimes it's the best line, but most often it's not the best line because people will avoid a line due to some lack of skills or maybe lack of awareness. So why do I even want to deal with line choice? Like, there's a nice trail out there. Why do I need to be choosing a different line? So line choice really enables you a few things. First of all, and for me I think that's the main thing, is being creative on the bike and having fun. So you can pick a different line. That means you're more in control. You're kind of taking fate into your own hands and you're deciding what to do with the terrain, which is just a really, really good feeling. Other than that, a good line choice could give you a safer option on the trail or just a more efficient option on the trail. As an instructor, I really enjoy coaching line choice because, again, it gives people this new perspective, sometimes on a trail that they've been familiar with for a long time, and it's super fun. And even as a rider, it's something I really like. So one of my kind of favorite things to do, if I can, is to ride an unknown trail or a trail I'm doing for the first time, and maybe even following a local rider or another guide and trying to pick different lines than they do. Sometimes it's really fantastic and sometimes it can get me into trouble, but it's still fun trying. So the whole thing is being creative, being safer, being smoother. So line choice is a really cool thing to work on. There are, though, a couple of things you have to take into account with line choice. So one thing I do see in my workshops, I consider it an advanced workshop, because when you get to work on line choice, what you want is to have as many tools as possible in your technical toolbox. So if I can do a drop or a jump, if I can take a tight turn or descent or steep roll down, all those things will open up for me more lines on the trail. And if my technical skills and tools are limited, also my line choice is limited. So before you really work on line choice, you want to have at least really good fundamentals. And then the more tools you can get, like lifting a wheel, rolling down, all that stuff, you will suddenly see more options on the trail. The biggest trap or problem sometimes with line choice is being too obsessive about it. So there are a few things that are more important. In this video, which I just took a little while ago in the coaching session, you will see 3 riders rolling down this wide section of a trail. A little bit challenging, there's some rocks and roll downs there, and each one of them is taking a different line. The reason for that, and this group is a group that's moving now slowly from easy to intermediate trails into more advanced trails, and we worked on line choice in that point. And the reason they each take a different line is because we looked at a few options and I told them, all of these options are okay with you, you just need to take the one that's comfortable for you. And it was really nice to see that each one of them went to a different line. Now, often riders become too obsessive with the correct line, and that obsession or fixation on a line has a couple of problems. The first problem is that if you're fixating on a line, you're automatically narrowing down your vision and you might just miss out on other lines or other opportunities. So if I'm like open and I'm flowing, looking for a nice line but keeping my options open, I'm a much more versatile rider. The second thing is that fixating on a line will usually make us really, really wary about exactly where our tires go, exactly where our front wheel is going through the trail. But riding mountain biking is dynamic. So you might be going for a line, but there's going to be a skid, there's going to be off camber. Maybe you got in a little bit faster than what you thought and took the turn a bit wider. So you might really want to be on a line, but then as you ride that section, you'll realize that you're a bit off. And that's usually not a problem, but what happens with fixating on a line is that you go a little bit off and then you're really trying to correct. And I see this kind of instinctive, very sharp correction with a lot of riders. And that sharp correction is usually either very sharp steering, because I want to get back to my line, or very sharp braking, because I'm off my line. Those two things will throw us off balance. And usually you can just let the bike flow and keep going and slowly correct back. Of course, if there's a big problem, if you're heading towards something that's a safety issue, you should stop your bike. But a lot of times it's just that fixation on the line instead of letting the bike move a little bit left and right from what you planned. So remember, riding is dynamic and line choice is dynamic, and you want to be flexible as you're riding the trail. Going back to the video from an hour ago with the group, you'll notice that they're all using the same technical skills. So they're using their fundamental skills there, which is good brake control, maintaining balance, looking at where they want to go, that enables each of them to pick a different line. So the line suddenly doesn't matter as much as their skills. And this is something really important. So there's a mantra I like to kind of repeat when I coach line choice. And it's really important. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. A good line will not necessarily compensate for bad technique, but good technique will compensate for a bad line choice. Which means eventually what you really want to practice is your skills. So if you have more skills, you have more options for lines. If you have more skills that you feel comfortable with, that you already do naturally, especially the fundamentals, that will take you out of trouble even if your line goes a little bit wrong. So working on your line choice is definitely a good thing to do. It will make you more creative, safer, more efficient, and it's super fun. But just make sure you don't fall into the trap of thinking that when you're on a trail, the line is the most important thing. It's not. Your fundamental skills and then your extra skills are more important than line choice, because they will take you out of a bad line and they will also enable you to have a wider choice of lines. So, skills first, lines later, but work on both. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to subscribe for us, and you can share this with your ride buddies. But the most important thing is we want to get questions from you. Most of the videos we make comes from the field, comes from riding with people we coach, with other instructors, with other riders, and from questions we get from people. So if you ask a question down in the comments below, it might become a video that's going to help other riders. So please do so, and we'll see you next time.